How y'all doing? All right. Ashar Kadash. You know what that means? Happy New Moon. All praises, man. I want to take the time, man, and where's my brother Aharon at? Want to take my time and make sure. There you go, right there. Stand on up, Ak. It's a new brother within the body. You guys are familiar with him and his son. Stand up. But he also has other family that we've been waiting on coming. And go ahead and stand up. So all praise be to the Most High for y'all. Welcome. For sure. All right, well, let's get into it. You know what I love about these feast days? Boy, what do we do during the feast? One of the biggest things that we do. When we got a feast, it can't be a feast without what? Without food. Right? So guess what the title of today's or this evening's lesson is? Come and get your soul food. We're having some soul food tonight. Now, it ain't the type of soul food that you're used to. It's that real soul food, that spiritual soul food. So let's get into it. Go to St. John, chapter 21. St. John chapter 21, and let's start at verse 10.
St. John chapter 21, verse 10. And Yahushua said unto them, bring of the fish which ye have now caught. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land, full of great fishes, 153. And for all there were so many, yet not the net breaking.
Yet not was the net broken. It was so many fish. He said 153 fish. So for the net that they had, normally that net wouldn't be able to support that many fish. Right? So they were pretty amazed at that. Go ahead.
Yahushua said unto them, come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, who art thou? Knowing that it was the Lord.
So they knew exactly who he was. He said, come and dine, come and eat. You know, it's crazy because how many feasts do we have throughout a year? Huh? I hear a lot. I hear 12. I heard 11. I heard 19. Uh-oh, now, okay.
52 weeks in a year.
Is it really 52 weeks in a year, in the Most High year?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
A lot. A whole lot. Yeah, like you said, especially if you count the weekly Sabbath, because that's technically a feast too. So we got the weekly Sabbaths. We supposed to come together, convocation, sup. Right? What's what they call in the bootleg church communion? We have communion. We literally come and commune with one another, eat, sup with one another. And that's one of the main things that allows us to develop close relationships. Right? Now you got to look at that. You got to say, you know what? When I was in the world, and we celebrated all of these holidays, right? The holidays, right, that I can remember, because, you know, me, kid from the ghetto, we didn't celebrate every single holiday. We didn't, you know, celebrate Pet Day and Teacher's Day and all that kind of stuff, right? So we celebrated, for the most part, all of the basics, right? Right? Now, even with us celebrating all of those basics and the feast that we did have, can you remember how many of y'all raise your hand if you remember all of the feasts that you would have in the world? Raise your hand if you can remember the feast that you would have. Come on, I ain't going to bite you. The feast that you would have in the world. Yeah. So how many feasts on a normal year did you actually have where you actually had folks come together with food? Okay, so like 3, 4. 3 or 4, 3. I got 3 back there. 5 for you. About 6. All right. Okay, now watch this. Now watch this. We got something better than Juneteenth. We got something called the Sabbath, the Shabbat. We free once a week. Now watch this though. Since you've been in this truth, how many feasts have you been to where all this good food is being brought in? Brothers pouring good drink. Sisters getting good drink. And ain't no foolishness that's following. How many of those have you been in throughout a year? Throughout the course of 1 year? Approximately how many feasts are we keeping? Not to mention, in the world, it was only 1 day, a 1 day minimum, right? We got, how many days is unleavened bread? 7 days. How many days is tabernacles? 8 days. How many days is dedication? 8 days. You even look at Purim, and you can kind of group Purim in with Nicanor because they're consecutive. And that's how many days? That's 3 days. That we doing what? Boy, during dedication, we party so much, we be tired of partying. But that's what builds the bond. It builds the closeness. Coming together, man. That's what that, because y'all seen the movie Soul Food. They said that's what Soul Food was about. The Boys to Men got the song, loving you's like food to my soul. Right? Right? Because soul food, it wasn't necessarily about the physical food itself, but the soul food was the experience. It was the love that came along. Right? That's what soul food was about, right? Okay. So now watch this, read. Verse 13.
Yahushua then cometh and taketh bread and giveth them a fish likewise.
Go ahead.
This is now the third time that Yahushua showed himself to his disciples. After that, he was risen from the dead.
So this was the third time that he appeared to them. And they tripping because they like, we saw you die. And this is the third time you coming to us. Right? Read on.
So when they had dined, Yahushua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these?
So he asked them a question. Imagine we eating, we having a good old time, we drinking, right? Feeling good. Yahushua look over to Peter, his brother. Out of nowhere, he say, hey, Peter, do you love these fish more than you love me? What we eating tonight? You love these burgers more than you love me? You love this barbecue more than you love me? Probably got some banana pudding. You love this banana pudding more than you love me? You love this yayan? You know what that is, right? you love this fire water more than you love me? So let's see what Peter say. Read on.
He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee.
He said, you know I love you. You know I love you. You already know what's up. We here. Go ahead.
He said unto him, Feed my lambs.
So he said, in other words, if you love me, then feed my lambs. Go ahead.
He said unto him again, the second time.
Second time, go ahead.
Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me?
He said, do you love me? Read on.
He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee.
So he said, like, come on now, you asking me again? You already know I love you. You know you my guy. You already know what's up. You know I love you. Go ahead.
He said unto him, Feed my sheep.
Then he said, tell him again. He said, okay, you love me? Feed my sheep. Watch this, read.
He said unto him the third time.
Third time. Now how many, keep it 100. How many of y'all get irritated when somebody asks you the same thing over and over?
Hey, look, hold up. Or even one time, because you already know that he should know what he know, right?
Exactly. Even one, you hit the nail on the head. Even one time. So this is the third time he asking him. It's like you ever been in one of the moments, y'all may be drinking or something, and person, you know, they asking you something, and you like, man, is this fool drunk? Like, come on. Yeah. He like, come on, you already know what it is, but watch this, read.
Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahushua said,
what did he say to him? What did he say to him?
Feed my sheep.
Feed my sheep. I can only imagine how he probably actually said it to him. It probably went something like that, because that was the final time he said it. In other words, hey, if you really love me, feed my sheep. Now, what's so significant about this is this. What did Yahushua do prior to them sitting down and eating? What was happening prior? When you read above, you'll find out they had gone back to their professions. They left off from preaching the gospel as fervently as they were doing so. They were in a place where they felt defeated. And they said, well, guess we're going to go back fishing to our profession. They was out there trying to get some work and couldn't catch nothing. Yahushua roll up. They got way more than enough fish. Then, they got something to eat now. They got money in their pockets too, because that was a lot of fish. That's their profession. They wasn't going to eat all of those fish. They was going to sell them. But it was more than enough for them to have a good meal. Yahushua, he showed them what it was. He didn't just say what it was. He was constantly showing them what it was. I ain't going to tell you to do something that I ain't willing to do myself. I'm not going to tell you to go and feed them if I'm not willing to feed you. So sometimes we talk about this, and we talk about the physicality behind this scripture. The actual carnal aspect, meaning the actual food itself. But tonight I want to speak more so on the spiritual aspect of things. All right? He was also showing them something spiritually. He said, feed my sheep. Peter and them stopped feeding the sheep. Why? They got caught up in self again, self-preservation. How many of y'all have slowed down or altogether stopped at times feeding the sheep and went back into self-preservation? All praises, keeping it real. And sometimes it takes somebody that loves us, somebody that know what time it is for them to say, hey, hold on. Get back on your square, right? Still, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Go from there. Give me Proverbs chapter 30, 7 through 9. Because here go the thing. Now he told Peter, feed my sheep. But did he mean just feed them anything? My question is, what are you being fed? Huh? What are you being fed? Go ahead and read that out.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 7.
Two
things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies.
So the first thing he said, remove far from me vanity and lies. He said, get that away from me. I don't want no part of that. Read.
Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me.
Now that's that part right there. He said, give me neither poverty nor riches. He said, don't make me rich and don't make me poor. But feed me with food convenient for me. So my question to every last one of y'all tonight is, we getting ready to chow down in terms of our flesh. I'm going to ask you in the spirit, do you know what's convenient for you? Have you thought about what food spiritually is convenient for you? This one really resonated, and it hit home with me as I meditated upon this lesson, because I've been struggling with the carnal aspect of diet. And what I began to realize was that there was a parallel with what I was doing carnally with what the Most High is showing us what we should be doing spiritually. And it hit me like a ton of bricks when I realized it. Do we know what's convenient for us? Read on.
Verse 9. Lest I be full.
So he said, if not, lest I be full. And go ahead.
And deny thee. And say, who is the Lord?
So now, what does it look like to be full? It hit home for me, because a lot of the food that we eat, not all of us, but most of us, a lot of the foods we eat are crap. A lot of the foods we eat, right, are ultra processed. A lot of the foods we eat are packed with preservatives, salts, and not even natural salts. Salt is not supposed to be necessarily bad for you. Of course, you still can't have too much of even good salt, but your body is able to consume a lot more good salts that come from the earth, than that salt that they call table salt. Your body has a hard time processing that. Same thing with sugar. Sugar itself is not bad, but the processed sugar, the one that they send through a certain process, a lot of the sugars that are processed through bone char, right? Those sugars, your body has such a hard time digesting. But if you're eating natural sugars, your body can digest those things. They can handle them. As a matter of fact, we'll even go as far to say, a lot of people, you might say, all right, a diabetic can't have too much sugar. But a diabetic is okay if they're eating fruit. It becomes a problem when a diabetic is consuming sugars that are added to various things that they drink and eat. Their body has a hard time processing it. But even the fibers within the fruits have their part in making sure that the body is able to properly digest that you choose to consume that comes from the earth. So it hit home when he said food that's convenient for me, and then he followed up and he said, lest I be full. Because it's hard to get full off of eating fruits and vegetables. It's a different type of full. It's different when you full off of the nonsense. You get that ugly fool. I almost feel sick fool. Right? Read on.
Or lest I be poor and steal, and take the name of Yahweh in vain.
He said, or the opposite, I be poor and I steal for want of trying to get what it is that I need. He said, I don't want to be either way. Give me food that's convenient for me. I'm going to tell you this. In the spirit, it's a whole lot of people out there that's beginning to feed the people. But you got to be careful what you're being fed. A lot of times we piling up on certain stuff in the spirit. We think I need more of that. Give me more of that. And you loading up on the wrong stuff. You only needed a small portion of that. You trying to get a whole plate full and a half. Go from there. Give me Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37.
What verse?
Before we go there, give me Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah chapter 23, start with verse 1.
Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 1. Woe be unto the pastor.
Hold on. Pastor. How many times, if you've been in what we call this truth for a while, you probably done heard this scriptures a number of times, right? Raise your hand if you done heard this scripture a number of times. Who is this scripture usually pointed at? Huh? Bootleg Christian pastors, right? But my question to you is this exclusive to them? It's a whole lot of pastors wearing fringes. Go ahead and read.
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of the pasture, of my pasture, saith the Lord.
That's what the Most High said. He said, you got pastors out here that are scattering and destroying the sheep of his pasture. Read.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people.
That do what?
Against the pastors
These
that feed my people.
These pastors are feeding the people. But what are they feeding the people? Just because you being fed doesn't mean you being fed the right thing. Go ahead and read.
Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, said Yahweh.
Go ahead.
And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase.
Go ahead, verse 4.
And I will set up the shepherds over them which shall feed them.
So now he said, I'm going to set up shepherds over the people that shall feed them. But I thought they was already getting fed. He said, woe unto them pastors that's already feeding the people. If the people are already being fed, they shouldn't be hungry. It's just like here in Babylon. Just like right here in Egypt. You sitting up here eating boxed foods and think you being fed and don't really know that you're so malnutrition. We done been hearing a whole lot of boxed doctrines, a lot of processed doctrine. Thinking we getting the things that we need. Scripture give you the ingredients. The scripture say, come on now, we celebrate a thing called unleavened bread. We got to get rid of all of the leaven. It goes from A through Z. I'm telling you, that leaven represents sin. Now, if the scriptures say knowledge puffeth up, that means what? Watch this. This is going to be heavy. If the ingredients tells me that leaven, right? A little bit of leaven leaveneth the whole lump. How many of you guys have ever put a leavening agent in bread or something of that sort in order to make it rise? Raise your hand. How much do it take? Now, if you ain't reading the instruction and you decide to put what should you expect by the end of your baking experience? So if knowledge puffeth up, right? But everybody's a YouTube sensation. I ain't getting enough knowledge. I need more. I need more. Give me more. I ain't getting fed enough. And I'm just eating and eating and eating. Give me all the knowledge you got. You see where I'm going with this, right? Hold off on the knowledge. Get a small portion of that knowledge. It's like my folks tell me, you only need a little bit of that. But you can do a whole lot of this. You can do with a lot of this character. Let me put some laws on your plate. Right? Making sense, right? Go ahead.
And they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. Neither shall there be lacking, saith the Lord.
Said whatever they're going to be fed after they get fed from these shepherds, they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. I'm seeing too many folks within this walk that are dismayed. Let me give you the definition of the word dismayed.
You can't skip over that fearful. Man, Jakes be scared to correct Jakes too.
God.
Just because they sit in a high position, you got the same Bible they got, and Jakes be scared to go with that correction to them.
God.
That's another thing. He said they shall fear no more. It be too many people be fearing the wicked man.
God. Dismay. Consternation and distress, typically that caused by something unexpected, which goes right along with that fear. Fear of the unexpected. You're getting hit from here, and you're trying to figure things out, and you just don't feel safe. But he said after these shepherds feed you, you won't feel the fear anymore. You won't be dismayed. Neither shall they be lacking. Because what he's telling you is these pastors that have been feeding you, they've been feeding you with something, but whatever it is that they're feeding you with, you're still lacking. You're still lacking. There's no way in the world we as the children of Israel, finding out who we are, having found this book to be our constitution, should be lacking more than what we were lacking in the world. There's no way. There's no way we should feel more lost now than we felt like when we were in the world. There's no way. More fearful now than we felt when we were back in the world. No way. We got to figure out what that well-balanced diet looks like and what we need to be fed versus what we've been fed. Go from there. I want Ecclesiastes 37.
What verse?
27 through 31.
Sirach 37, verse 27.
God.
Sirach 37, verse 27. My son, prove thy soul in thy life.
Prove thy soul in thy life. Prove thy soul in thy life. And what?
And see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it.
See what is evil for it, and give that not to it. Ain't that the process that we physically go through in life? We figure out things that are bad for us and we say, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to deal with that. Read on.
For all things are not profitable for all men.
All things are not profitable for all men. Somebody might be able to eat that, but you can't eat that. That gives you heartburn. That doesn't agree with your system. You may be able to eat a little bit of this, and that person can eat a lot more than you. They can afford to. Go ahead.
Neither hath every soul pleasure in everything.
Neither has every soul pleasure in everything. There are some things that you like that I don't like, and vice versa. There are things that are delectable to my taste buds that are not to yours. But read.
Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing.
So what does that mean? Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. But go ahead.
Nor too greedy upon meats.
Or too greedy upon meats, upon different foods. He's showing you, but he's not just showing you physically how to live and how to thrive, but he's showing you spiritually how to live and how to thrive. Go ahead.
For excess of meats bringeth sickness.
Excess of meats bringeth sickness. There are things that you can eat and you eat them excessively and they will make you sick. Some will make you immediately sick and some will make you sick over a period of time. Right? But watch this, read.
Nor too greedy upon meats. For excess of meats bringeth sickness and
surfeiting.
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 Why did I say something?
The T is silent.
Oh, okay. And I'll start from the beginning. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into chlor.
To chowder. Yeah, I'll say it for you.
Chowder.
So, surfeiting is like, you got a whole buffet there. You got a buffet there. You got it at arm's reach. You like, I want some of that, some of that, some of that, some of that. It's going to turn into chowder. You're going to overdo it. You're going to overdo it. Go ahead.
By surfeiting, having many perished.
By doing this, many have perished. Go ahead.
But he that taketh heed prolongeth his life.
He that taketh heed prolongeth his life. Moderation. What are you eating spiritually? We want all of the knowledge. And a whole lot of folks get caught up because they get too much knowledge and not enough understanding. Scriptures say, with all thy getting, get understanding. Right? A lot of people get jacked up because they don't apply these simple principles into their spiritual lives. We got to make sure that we're cognizant of this. Go from there. Stay in Ecclesiasticus, but get 31, verse 27 through 29.
Sirach chapter 31, verse 27. Wine is as good as life to a man, if it be drunken moderately.
If it be drunken moderately. Moderately. Wine is as good as life. What does the wine represent on a spiritual level? Blood. In this case, it represents something. You're along the right lines. Because that blood symbolizes what? Life. And they say, what is life if you're not having some fun? You're not living. You ever heard somebody tell you that? You're not living. Yeah, you're alive, but you're not living. Meaning what? You ain't having a little bit of fun. You read the book of Ecclesiastes, it tell you, man, that's at least what a man should do. He should at least enjoy the fruits of his labor, have a little bit of fun, right? But the Bible says all in moderation. Boy, this is a spiritual book. I'm sitting up here this whole time thinking it's just talking about regular food and regular wine. And he giving us the recipe to success in life in the spirit. Straight up. Have you a little bit of wine every day. He tell you. He said, and when you're sick, you definitely go ahead and get some of that. It'll take the edge off. That's the same thing a little bit of laughter would do, a little bit of fun. But it tells you, be careful. Don't be tied into the expense thereof. Don't overdo it. Go ahead and read.
What life is then to a man that is without wine, for it was made to make man glad.
That's the connection right there. But watch this, read 28.
Wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart.
Because you ain't supposed to have fun any and every time. You got to make sure. It's sometimes where you got to be sorrowful. You got to sorrow with your brothers and sisters. So he said in season. But it's something that you should do. You got to have a little bit of fun. Go ahead.
And cheerfulness of the mind.
And cheerfulness of the mind. But what?
But wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind, with brawling and quarreling.
And that's what literally having too much fun will cause in your life. Heavy. Go from there.
You want to read that last one?
I don't really need it. Go Ezekiel chapter 4. Ezekiel chapter 4, we're going to read 12 through 15.
So what, Ezekiel 4 and 12?
Yep.
Yakazak Allah, chapter 4, verse 12. And thou shalt eat as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of man, in their sight. So
this is what the prophet was told, because the Most High was cold. Most High said, I got to put you through something physically so that you can understand spiritually. That's the whole purpose of doing a fast. He said, I'm going to physically put you through something and make you feel it so that you can get the understanding in the spirit. Right? So he said, in order to make you understand this, what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have you bake some barley cakes. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to have you bake it with dung. You know what dung is, right? Kids going to laugh when we say this. What is dung? Boo-boo. Dung is boo-boo. Kids kids just laugh at that. He said boo-boo. Right? They trying to hold it in. But now, somebody said cow's boo-boo. He said dung that cometh out of man. Most High said bake this barley cake and get some man boo-boo and mix that all in together. Now watch what the response is. Read.
And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
So he said, look, that's right now. He said, even the children of Israel shall eat their defiled bread. Our physical food is defiled. Yeah, that's why I only eat fruits and vegetables. They defiled too.
Coli poison.
You at the mercy of the Most High. Seriously. You better take that prayer more seriously that you pray before you eat. It's the reason why they say your grace. Because you need the grace of the Most High to hope that you getting properly, the proper nutrition that's needed and you ain't poisoned by the nonsense that catching cancer by what they put in the foods and how they grow the crops. Right? But he said all of this so that the children of Israel can see as a testimony that they're going to eat defiled bread in the land of their captivity. That's exactly what we're doing right now. But watch this, read on.
Then said I, Lord God, behold, my soul hath not been polluted, for from my youth up, even till now have I not eaten of it, of that which dieth of itself, or is torn in pieces, neither came there abominable flesh unto my mouth.
So you hear what he said? He said, look, oh, Most High, I want to do what you say, but hear me out. He said, I've never eaten anything defiled, Father. I've never eaten anything defiled. Right? That man boo-boo is a little bit too much, if you will. Go ahead.
Then he said unto me, Lo, I have given thee cow's dung for man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith.
He said, well, you can use some cow dung, some boo-boo from cows. So now, come and get your soul food. Crazy thing about the history of soul food as we now know it, because, you know, they start talking about soul food being them chitlins. You know what I'm saying? Them greens with them ham hocks in them. Yeah, all of that, baby back ribs, that's that soul food. And that was really food that would take your soul. That wasn't the real soul food. Right? Go from there. Go to Jeremiah chapter 42. (12 through 14).
Jeremiah 42, verse 12. And I will show mercy unto you, that he may have mercy upon you, and cause you to return to your own land.
Return to your own land, to Jerusalem, right? To that place that we call Israel. But watch this, read.
But if ye say, we will not dwell in the land, neither obey the voice of Yahweh, our power, saying no, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread, and there will we dwell.
See, that was the problem back then, Egypt back then. And remember, where are we at now? We still in Egypt. We in spiritual Egypt. Back then they were saying, we want to go back to Egypt. At least in Egypt, we ain't going to be hungry. We won't suffer hunger. Right? But what we eating here in Egypt? McDonald's on every corner. All these fast foods. All this quick preparation. Food is killing us. If you don't want to go the extra mile and actually cook the chicken, you want the chicken pre-cooked and it's full of salt 9 times out of 10. They got everything quick for you, but it always comes with a price. But the food in Egypt is not the food that the Most High would have us to eat. He said, come over to Jerusalem, come over to the motherland and eat this good food. He said, you'll never hunger and thirst again. But we want to go back. We want to keep eating in Egypt. In neighborhoods like this, a lot of our neighborhoods, they call them food deserts, food swamps, because you technically have food, but you don't have access to healthy foods. There's not a close enough grocery store that has healthy choices in proximity to your home in many cases with our people. But you got the liquor store and you got Church's Chicken. You got all of you got Popeyes, you got, you name it. Louisiana, you got the mom and pops. A lot of them, they cooking with lard. right? Food that's killing us. That's what you call a food desert or a food swamp. Because you don't have access to real food that is good for you. In the spirit, we be in a whole bunch of food swamps and food deserts and we don't know it. We be chowing down on them McChicken burgers. We be tearing them up, thinking, oh, I'm strong in the spirit. I'm a prophet. Most High send a bad enough spirit, it's gonna kick your butt all up and down that street. You ain't ready like you think you ready. Straight up. He said there's more to it than that. You malnourished. You done got all of this knowledge and it ain't did nothing but puff you up. You got a whole lot of water weight. You ain't a heavyweight. You a water weight. Yeah. But that's why you got to come and get this soul food. Brothers got to start cooking up soul food. Because, see, a lot of times it's easy because it's easy to sell the bad stuff. Boy, ain't it easy? We going to set up a restaurant. What we going to sell? You know the Israelites love fried chicken. They love tacos. We gonna sell it. We gonna get them with that all day long. But if we selling soursop and we might have a hard time getting this soursop off and these smoothies and this kale. We might have a hard time getting this off. My mama back there getting on me, look. We might have a hard time getting this off, right? Now watch this. We sitting up here thinking we strong in the spirit and we malnutrition. Jake's got to start, and I hope Jake's watching, or when you do see this, we got to stop preaching on these streets. We got to stop preaching behind this desk, giving these what we think to be absolutely profound lessons of this doctrine and that and this and that and more knowledge, and I'm going to break this down when it's as simple as make sure you teach the people how to live. What? Man. It's the same thing, yeah. Yeah. Well, pardon me. Yeah, which one ain't a word? Oh, malnutrition. Okay, malnourished. For sure. That's what I got, brothers. Oh, praises. I love it. My brothers is gonna tell me, so I ain't out there looking like a fool. Somebody be like, he don't even know how to say malnourished. Nigga talking about he feeding the people. But man, I want brothers out there, man. It ain't about, we got to be careful. Because we doing a whole lot in Israel right now, especially in the time we getting excited. We seeing more and more celebrities coming out and saying, we the Israelites, right? Folks is getting excited. It's all good. I'm not going to knock that. What I will say is this. We still got a responsibility, man. We got a responsibility for teaching and feeding the people the things that they need so that they are prepared for the times that are not just coming, but what we are already facing currently. How many folks have gotten hung in the last couple of weeks? Not every street teaching video gonna help you out of that. How many of our brothers have been slain at the hands of our oppressor within the last couple of weeks? It was just the other night, another brother over there in Gardena. Yeah. How many? What do our people need right now? A lot of that knowledge that's puffing a lot of jakes up ain't what we need. Right? Somebody, they might test you. You know this, you know that. Yeah, I know that. All praises be to the Most High in Yahweh's name. I can teach you that in due season. But right now, my people, they need milk. Milk go a long way, right? My people need that milk. And that's what we got to give them. We got to give them that milk. We got to make sure the people are getting that daily bread. Go from there. Where we at? Jeremiah 42, 12. Go ahead. Oh, we already did that? Oh, yeah, we done with that. Yeah, we don't want the food of bondage. We want to get Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 11. Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 11.
Lamentations chapter 1, verse 11. All her people sigh, and they seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul.
They have given their pleasant things for meat, meaning food, to relieve the soul. That's where we at right now. All of the things that you thought that matter, you starting to realize those things don't matter. I'm willing to give those things up. Everybody ain't there, but a lot of our people are getting to a point where that's, even some of these celebrities, that's what you're seeing. They're getting to a point, they're saying with all of this, especially in lieu of this whole COVID-19, all these open demonstrations by our enemies, our oppressors, to show us how they can take our lives with impunity, right? Our people, even those that are in a much better financial space than we are starting to look and say, you know what? Maybe I ain't nothing but a rich slave after all. Ball players feeling some type of way. And they're getting to a point where they're doing this. They say, look, I'll give away my things for food, for meat that will relieve the soul. They looking for soul food. Everybody got an opinion. Everybody's got a blog. Everybody's going live. Right? Everybody got something to say. Everybody got their 2 cents. But what are you really saying? How are you instructing the people? What are we going to do? What can we do? That's important. Food to relieve the soul. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 8. And 1 through 3.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
All the commandments which I command you this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. Mm-hmm. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee.
To what?
To humble thee.
To do what?
To humble thee.
We was in the wilderness 40 years to be humbled. It would have taken literally an absolute small fraction of that time to make it from where we were at in Egypt to the various different parts within the land that was allotted to our fathers. It wouldn't have even taken a year of that 40, right? He kept us in the wilderness 40 years. We could have just said, zoop, He said, oh, because we wasn't just going the long way, but we was stopping. He's like, all right, stop here. All right, we stopping again? Yeah, we stopping. I'll tell you how long we going to be here. You'll figure it out. Set up the tabernacle again. Set up your respective tents. It's crazy because a lot of us, we ain't cleaning up our houses like we need to clean up our houses. Imagine in the wilderness, guess what we had to do in the wilderness? Because I never heard anybody speak of it like this. There was a specific way that the Most High said that things needed to be set up in the wilderness. How many of you guys are familiar with that? Not many of you guys. In the wilderness, there was a thing called the what? We got a feast named after it. The tabernacle. The tabernacle was a big tent that had to be set up in a certain direction, in a certain way, with all of the various different things set up in there, even the Holy of Holies. And around that tabernacle, you couldn't just be like, all right, I got over here this time. I want to be over here. All the respective tribes had to align themselves and had to set themselves up in accordance to how it was laid out for each tribe to be camped around the tabernacle. And they stopped over and over and over and over and over and over throughout those 40 years in the wilderness. Literally. Can you imagine how many times they had to set their tents up? And throughout all of this time, because some of y'all say, man, that's ridiculous. I'm glad I wasn't there. Not knowing that some of y'all probably was there. But Most High said, I just want you to focus on setting them tents up. Sweeping your respective areas. Keeping it clean. He said, you ain't even got to worry about going and hunting no food. What'd he do for us? He gave us manna. We was complaining about manna. Manna is something that pretty much all Israelites love. He gave us bread, and bread that was sweet. And we complained about that. Oh, we want some bird. Tired of eating bread. He got mad, but he said, all right, give him some quail. Didn't have to do nothing. Didn't have to catch a quail. Didn't have to break a sweat. All you had to do was go out there and gather. But this is what was happening. He fed us. We're in the wilderness right now, like the Bible says, in the wilderness of the people. The wilderness is where we learned the law. We learned structure, organization, government, judgment. We're not going to a physical space anymore. He said even Jerusalem had become a wilderness. He said, you're in the wilderness of the people. Right now is your time to get structured and organized. Right now is your time to learn to keep these laws. That's the food we need. Right now is your time. They didn't have no time for foolishness. You think they got time for foolishness? We don't want to be next to this tribe no more. We beefing. Man, Most High would have smitten every last one of the leaders and said, y'all still got a problem with that? No, we good. How many heads did Moses cut off and put on stakes? Read your history. Read your history. Folks was just doing this, and Most High was like, you know what, I'm tired of them talking. Put them to death. We get bent out of shape about a little bit of open rebuke. Moses was putting them to death.
Hey, you read about more getting put to death through backbiting and murmuring than you do for any other offense. Man.
But you know why, right? Because those things are so counterproductive to us building a nation. That's why. That's why he went so hard in the paint. You've seen that highlighted more in the wilderness than when we came into our own kingdom. When we were in the wilderness, he said it's so important for y'all to do what you need to do right by each other, because we're in the process of building. That's what it is. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Now remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee, and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no.
Whether we was gonna keep his commandments or no. That's what the wilderness was about. He said, let them continue roaming for 40 years. I'm gonna see if they're gonna actually do what I tell them or not. I'm gonna prove them. I'm going to humble them. Here we are in the wilderness. How many humble Israelites do you see on YouTube? Jake says, oh, we standing true. We in the hood. We standing up against, man, I'm telling you, when that proving really start. Because it's coming. Trust me, plan in full motion. We need to humble ourselves, and we need to make sure, he said, to see whether you're going to keep these commandments or no. We need to keep these commandments. Go ahead and read. Verse 3.
And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger.
He did what?
And suffered thee to hunger.
Suffered thee to hunger. That was the first thing before he fed us. He said, let me make sure you understand what it means to be hungry first. And then after I let you see what it feels like to hunger, then I'm going to do what? Go ahead.
And fed thee with manna.
Then I gave you what you needed. I fed you. Go ahead.
Which thou knewest not. Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man did not live by bread only.
And he said this was the spiritual reasoning behind it, so that you know, so that I know, so that we know that man doth not live by what?
By bread only.
But
by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord.
Some of these laws.
Every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord.
He says you can't just do this and say, oh, I'm good. But you ain't dealing this. You ain't doing this right. You ain't dealing righteously with your brothers and your sisters. That's not going to work. He said every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. People, you ever be in a situation where people doing something and they doing, you know, the expected things, what's kind of like the norm, but then you come along and realize like, whoa, it's more that needs to be done. And you attempt to do more and then they got a problem with you. I know a lot of people must experience it in this truth. You looking and saying, okay, all right, cool, we got fringes, all right, we got our beards. But we also need to do this, and we need to do that. What about that, Hot? Jake's be like, hold on, man. I'm like, dang. Every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. Last time that I checked, all of these is the words of the Most High, ain't they? Y'all agree?
Agree.
So that means that I'm responsible Not just for just Numbers 15 and 38. I'm responsible for a lot more than that. I'm responsible for a lot of other scriptures that tells me how my character needs to be. Tells me how I need to deal with things civilly in regards to my brothers and my sisters. I got to deal with that. I got to live by that. I got to honor those things. That's what he's saying. Go from there, Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through 11. That's the soul food, y'all. Because remember what we said in the beginning, right? Every time they talked about soul food, it really wasn't even talking about the food itself. It was talking about the what? The experience. The love. The companionship. The family. That's what made that soul food dinner. Go from there. Matthew chapter 6, I need 9 through 11.
Book of Matthew chapter 6 and verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Watch this.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread. You think he talking about like loaves of bread? What kind of bread you like? Wonder bread? That's what he talking about? What kind of bread is he talking about? Give who? Just like you said. That's that daily bread. Now here go the thing. How many of y'all, we done said this before, how many of y'all went to school? How many years did you spend in school? How much of your school education do you use as an adult? If you had to throw a percentage out there. 20. So we range from like 0.2 to 20%. That's all low, relatively low. Right? So we got all of this education that we got fed, but how much of it has been applicable to our lives? It's the same thing with what we getting fed spiritually. We think it's all good, but a lot of it be garbage, or it be unnecessary. Portion size too much for something that we don't need that much of. And then we lacking what we do need more of. Because one thing I know, you might not be able to break down the parable of the seed and the sower. But if you got enough common sense on how to deal with your brother and your sister according to this word and keep it good and make it love, I think that's more profitable. Scriptures don't even tell our sisters, our women, that they need to know all of these great saints. They don't say that. But it tells the sisters that say, look, love your husband, love your family, hold it down. Love your brothers and your sisters. Teach the young. That's what the scriptures say. And when we're not doing that and we so focused on the knowledge, we missing it. We missing it. That ain't the daily bread. Well, that's some daily bread that you don't want. It's a bunch of fluff, a bunch of added preservatives. You eat too much of that bread on a day. Because see, here's the thing. They could eat so much bread back when, but notice the bread we eat give us diabetes. It turned to sugar. You eat too much bread, you turn into a diabetic. Something different about this bread. Our bodies can take starch, natural starches. Wheat itself ain't necessarily the enemy. But it's everything that you're putting along with that food that causes your body to have such a hard time processing and digesting. And even the overconsumption of. We need to know what that daily portion looks like and what it should be, what the ingredients should be. Go from there. Philippians. Yeah, let's get it real quick. We're going to flow through these real quick. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 12. What they looking like in the back? Still need some time. So just so y'all know, it ain't just me. Man, he talked too long. Nah, I ain't gonna do y'all like that. We'll play some music before I go 2 hours. So I ain't go. Some folks, I'm gonna have to walk out of here. Philippians chapter 4, and let's get 11 and 12.
Book of Philippians chapter 4 and verse 11.
Uh-huh.
Now that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned, in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
In this walk, this is what I'm telling, especially y'all brothers, but sisters too, because I hear it with sisters. I hear people say, man, I done learned all I can learn here. I just feel like I'm not being fed. Your smile feeds me. That's real talk. I get fed. We supposed to get fed off of just the hospitality of one another up in here. Because remember, we look at this thing, when we say the truth, we look at it as a pastime, as extracurricular. Yeah, I'm in the truth. Like that's just an additive to our lives. What did being in the truth look like back when? When you was in the truth, especially during the time where we actually had a kingdom, it didn't look like what it looked like now. You was living amongst your people. It was 24/7. It wasn't like, oh, I'm about to go to another church. It wasn't none of that. You had to live and deal with the people that you was amongst, your community. Make sense? Today, we think we have the luxury to just, oh, I ain't feeling this. I've outgrown this. Slow down. I get fed by the relationships that I have. I get fed by seeing the joy in these kids' eyes because they safe. I get fed when I toast with my brothers. I get fed when I see the beauty of my sisters enjoying one another's company. I get fed by that. Keep it real with you. I get fed more by that than a whole lot of the breakdowns that I've learned over the years. As much as I love, because my wife would tell you, I done did my hours in these scriptures. As much as I love these scripts, I had to learn one day. Something told me, he said, it's okay to put that Bible down for a minute. Somebody said, what? Put the Bible down. And you got to put it down so you can live it. Yeah. You got to put it down so you can apply. That's what I love. That's what I'm fed by. So go ahead and read.
Verse 12, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound.
I know how to be abased and I know how to abound. You know how some people you be around and you realize it's time to be abased. Let me humble myself. I don't want to put myself in a situation where they think that I'm better than them. I abase myself. Then I know how to be around some people where you do the opposite. They need that. They need to be fed something different. They want to abound. So you know how to abound amongst them. What Paul say? He said, I know how to be all things amongst all people. But read on.
Everywhere and in all things, I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
You see that? To be full and to be hungry. To abound and suffer need. That's the beautiful thing about this. And this is what I've learned. To be content. But not only that, what he's saying right here, when he said, I know how to be full and be hungry, you know what he mean by that, Steve? Well, I get your Hebrew name. You know what he mean by that, When you make the choice to adapt to your circumstance, In that moment, what you're doing is you're making the choice to say it's not all about me, but it's about those that are around me. How can I help them in their spirit? How can I uplift them? How can I build them? As much as you think you preaching and the greatest thing you can give is a breakdown, the greatest thing you can give is that example right there. That's the greatest thing that you can give. Go from there. Get Ecclesiasticus chapter 31, 16 through 21. How much more time we talking, y'all? A lot. Folks gonna stone you, nephew. He said a lot. Let me know how much time they need in the back. Sun's still up? Oh, snap, that's right. All praises, thank you. So they good in the back, right? They ain't starting to. So we're gonna chill out anyway. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the longest day. God. Huh? All right. Well, all right. I ain't gonna take it past that. All right, Ecclesiastes chapter 31, 16 through 21.
Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 31 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Eat as it becometh a man.
Eat as it becometh a man. Right? See, here's the thing about being a man. You know, some people might think a man's man, he'll eat it. Nah, a man, when you get to a point of being a man, he'll make sure everybody else got what they need. He don't want to look a certain type of way. He just need a little bit, right? That's what it's talking about. Read.
It is it becometh a man those things which are set before thee.
Uh-huh.
And devour not, lest thou be hated.
Devour not, lest thou be hated. Meaning what? If you're doing the extras, I'm going to tell you exactly what they're going to say. Man, they greedy. He greedy. He act like he ain't got no home training. God, dog. Leave some for everybody else. Ain't that what they say? They ain't gonna say it out loud. They gonna say that, but I'm like, God, no, did you say what I'm saying? Goodness. Act like he ain't eaten in years. Go ahead.
Leave off first for manners' sake.
Leave off first for manners' sake. You know you want some more, but at least get at, no, I'm good, I appreciate it. Now, if they just push it on you, then maybe, okay, I'll tell you, all right. But you got to at least play the part like, oh, no, I'm good, I appreciate that. Sometimes you be in a situation you done popped up, they really ain't got enough to give you too much. But you be like, hey, I'll take some more of that. The Bible said, be wise. I'm good, thank you, I appreciate that. They be like, okay, solid brother. Go ahead.
And be not unsatiable, lest thou offend.
Don't overdo it, or else you will offend somebody. And he came over and ate all the chicken. He ate all the snacks. Ate my baby snacks. You know how you feel about your baby snacks. That was for my baby. He can't come over. Go ahead.
And when thou sittest among many, reach not thy hand out first of all. A very little is sufficient.
So hold on. He said, when y'all sittest amongst many, don't be the first one to reach your hand out. You know, you got to reserve. You know you want the one that you want, but you got to reserve yourself. Be like, okay. Go ahead.
A very little is sufficient for a man well.
Now that's heavy right there. A very little is sufficient for a man well nourished. What does that mean? A man well nourished.
Nurtured.
Nurtured, I'm sorry. Thank you. Nurtured. If you're well nurtured, meaning you're healthy, you ain't missed too many meals, you're a healthy man, then you're not gonna die if you don't eat a whole plate of whatever it is that they have. So what do? Get your little bit, and I'm good. I appreciate that. I'm solid, right? That's what it's saying. Now let's flip that over in the spirit. If you're already well nurtured in the spirit, right? You ain't got to gobble that many YouTube videos up in one day. I need some of this from over here. I need some of this camp, some of this camp, some of that camp, some of that camp. I need all the camps I can get. Because I need to know. I don't want to know. I got to know for me. So I say, man, you eating too much. You're going to get sick. You're going to look some kind of way. He said, look, I'm going to give you your daily bread. I'm going to give you, take just enough. Digest that first. Straight up. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. So a lot of times we looking for so much knowledge. And he said, look, the little bit that you got, I'll get it in a second. Go ahead.
And he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed.
And he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed. You done ate so much that you can't breathe. Straight up, go ahead.
Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating.
Uh-huh.
He riseth early, and his wits are with him.
See, when you eat moderately, you sleep better. Your wits, meaning you're sharper in the mind. Go ahead.
But the pain of watching and choler and pains of the belly are with the unsatiable man.
You see that? Somebody that can't control their eating, they're overeating, gets to a point where you're sick. You're not sharp in the mind. You're not able to breathe as well. Your health begins to decline. Go ahead.
And if thou hast been forced to eat, arise, go forth, vomit, and thou shalt have rest.
Now that's crazy. When I first read this scripture, I'm like, really? The Bible telling you to go and throw up? You eat too much, go throw up? But look at it on the spiritual level. Sometimes you got to throw up, you got to vomit some of that stuff that you thought that was good, but you realize is messing your spirit up. You need to vomit. Make yourself throw that up. Straight up. And see how much better you feel. Go from there. Get stay in Ecclesiasticus. Get 19 and 24.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19 and verse 24.
So this what goes along with what we just read. Go ahead.
He that hath small understanding.
He that has small understanding. They can't break down these scriptures. They ain't as sharp as us. They don't know what we know. Watch this. He that has small understanding, read.
And feareth God.
But they fear the Most High, meaning what? Amon, what it mean? Fear the Most High. Meaning, I'm going to help you out. They keep. There you go. Small understanding, but you fear the Most High, meaning you keep the commandments. I don't need to be around the guy that's a YouTube sensation. And everybody's looking at him, got a title for him. He's the man. Everybody knows him. But when I'm around him, I realize that he ain't 100% solid on everything. I'd rather be around a Jake that people look at like, what can this Jake teach me? He probably don't know that much. He ain't that sharp. But every time I look at him, he A1. He's solid. He keeping these commandments. He go hard for the Most High. That's who I want to be around. I don't care about being around the Israelite celebrity who ain't even got control over his own house. I don't need that. I want to be around those that I, like the scriptures say, a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. That's who I want to be around. That's why the Bible says it's better for he that has small understanding and feareth the Most High is better. Go ahead.
Is better than one that hath much wisdom.
Got much wisdom. Oh, they can break this down, that down. They can tell you this. They can get onto the history. They can give you dates. They can tell you geography, show you where it's at on the atlas. But what?
And transgresseth the law of the Most High.
But they ain't keeping these laws. They got fringes on, but they doing some other nonsense. They ain't 100. Which one you rather be? Huh? Sisters, which one you rather be married to? Huh? I hope the one that's keeping these laws. Husband might not be the most solid. He might not know everything, but if he earnestly trying to keep these commandments, I can rock with him. Hold on to your man. You might say, oh, you know what? I think I might be able to kind of read circles around him. It's okay, but he righteous. Give him time. Straight up. Give him some time. Because that righteous spirit is what's going to hold true. And that's what's going to preserve your family. Right? Go from there. Get Amos chapter 8 and verse 11. Amos chapter 8 and verse 11.
Book of Amos, chapter 8 and verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread.
Not a famine of bread, but what?
Nor a thirst for water.
No, nor thirst for water.
But of hearing the words of the Lord.
Of hearing the words of the Most High. That's the famine. That's the famine we got in our land right now. And that's even the famine that still resides within the Israelite community. It's a whole lot of Israelites that will shalom you to death. Shalom. Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Ahaya. They'll give you but when it comes to judgment, it's being slacked if it's there at all. Comes to true love is correcting your brother. It ain't there. Straight up. Everybody's free, which is free. I ain't about to be in bondage under nobody. Then how we gonna build? You want to do your thing and he doing his thing and I'm supposed to do my thing, then how are we going to be able to come together and build? Last time I checked, we were servants to Yahweh Shai. We collectively supposed to come together to build. I realized that early in my walk. This ain't about me. I did what I wanted to do. I promise you, it'd be a totally different program if it was about me, about what I wanted to do. It's about the Most High. That's the reason why you here tonight. All kind of other places you can be tonight. But where you at? Right here. Because you realize it ain't about you. It ain't about me. It's about the Most High and his Son, our King. And about the building of this kingdom to come, that's coming real fast, that we got to be prepared for. Even the Israelites that we love that don't want to walk the way we walking, it's cool, then I'm going to love you from afar. It's fine. I can still love you from a distance, but I just can't have you too close to knock my Legos down. You get too close, you're going to sideswipe me. Stay at a distance. Go from there. I'm about to end it. And then we could just parlay until it's time. Let's get, you know what? Psalms 34 and 10. Psalms 34 and verse 10.
Psalms 34 and verse 10. The young lion do lack and suffer hunger.
It's the young lions that do lack and suffer hunger. And it's important for those aged lions, those mature, those wise lions to do what?
But they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing.
To feed them the game, to give them the spiritual food. And then it says, but they that seek the Most High shall not want any good thing. Because that's another thing that we got to be careful. There's a lot of young lions in this, and they roaring. They ready to go and devour. But they're not necessarily seeking the Most High. They think they seeking the Most High, but they not. Some of them seeking a lot of vainglory. It's like I said, man, the whole Israelite scene on YouTube has become a phenomenon. How many new teachers do you have on a week-to-week basis? Ton of them. Well, I like how so-and-so teach. Man, oh, so-and-so, he be bringing it out. Oh, they be making Edomites kiss their feet. I like that. It has become more entertainment than anything else. Straight up. The young lions do lack and they do suffer hunger. Suffer that hunger. And it's for us to make sure that we recalibrate and tell these young lions, hey, don't forget to seek the Most High. Seek the Most High in what you're doing. Just like the woman that gave, she gave a mite when everybody else gave a lot more. But that mite was all she had. And they said, who gave more? She gave more because she gave her all. We got to give our all in this truth. And then another thing, when he told them, he said they was given to be seen. He said, well, they already got their reward. I don't want that to be my reward. Oh, yeah. We know Josiah when we see him in the street. I'm not saying you ain't going to see me out there because I know the work got to be done. But that ain't what I need. That ain't what I want. I don't want that to be my reward. I want my reward to be waiting for me at them gates. That's what I want my reward to be. And I hope that's what y'all want y'all reward to be. And we really got to go above and beyond. Last two, and I'm going to make them real quick. Proverbs 19 and 15. Just trying to hold it off for them. Proverbs 19 and 15. So I'm pretty sure there will be a delay because Jace had to wait until the sun went down. Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 15.
Verse 15. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep. And an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
Idleness will cause your soul to suffer hunger. So I'm going to say another thing that I want everybody up in here to take heed to. It's time to work. It's a beautiful thing to work. I got some of y'all that done asked me, what you need me to do? I got talents ready to put you to work. But it's fun when we work, man. That's how we even get closer, man. We get closer when we working together. Let's work. Let's do like they say, whistle while we work. Not whistle while we twerk. We're not doing that. But whistle while we work. I know that's the first thing that pop up in some of y'all head. Yin Yang twins. Whistle while we work, right? Have a good old time working together. So we don't want to be idle because we don't want our souls to suffer that hunger. So this is going to be the last scripture I leave you with unless my brothers got something. You can write down Matthew 5 and 6. Blessed are they that which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Revelation chapter 17, verse 15 through 17.
Revelation 17, 15 to 17.
Chapter 7 and verse 15 through 17.
Book of Revelation, chapter 7 and verse 15. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. Mm-hmm. They shall hunger no more.
We won't hunger anymore when we get into our kingdom. And that's not talking about hunger for food, but that's talking about hunger in the spirit. We ain't gonna hunger for nothing. We're gonna have the understanding that's needed to live for eternity. Imagine what that's gonna feel like. We just got a little bit of time to labor. Some of y'all look at it and be like, man, I gotta do this every day of my life. This the life that don't matter as much. We looking towards the other life that's gonna last forever. Now, if you don't believe that, just stop wasting your time. But if you believe that, something in you believe it, because you wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't believe it. If you believe that, let's put in this little bit of work right now. Because when we in that kingdom, you ain't going to be having to do the things you got to do here. It's going to be rest. Go ahead.
They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat.
Go ahead.
For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them.
What's going to feed them?
The Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them.
We going to be hearing, like, look, what's so cold about that? What's so beautiful about that? Yeah, I got to worry about the Zion one talking. You're going to hear it straight from the king. I'm going to be sitting there and all. You're going to hear it from the king's mouth. Imagine what it's going to feel like to drink with Yahweh Shai. He said, I'm not going to drink no more wine until I drink it with y'all in the kingdom. Ooh. You know cognac is technically wine too, right? Imagine some heavenly cognac. I know some of y'all is more tequila, but man, I'm a yak man myself. Can't wait. All praise be to the Most High. Read on.
And shall lead them unto living fountains of water.
Living fountains of water. Just imagine, man, the kingdom is just going to be so beautiful. Beautiful. Ain't going to be no more, hey, what you doing tomorrow? Man, I got to work. No more of that. No more of that. Straight up. Man, let's piece up on the bottle. No more of that. No more of that. Go ahead.
You guys shall wipe away all tears from their eyes.
And a lot of y'all, you going through it, you got tears in them eyes. Most High said, I'm going to wipe all that away. I'm going to take away your pain. You got pain right now that's bothering you. Folks going through things. Most High said, I'm going to wipe away your tears. You're going to be happy. When the last time you've been happy for a whole week straight without being sad at all? Huh? When the last time you had peace? For real, for real. Some of y'all, when the last time you had a good night's sleep? Can't put a price on that. All praise be to the Most High, man. Happy new moon, y'all. All right. Any announcements?